Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. M. N. Gupta, Emeritus Professor from IIT Delhi. Today we are going to talk on module MHC proteins and transplantation from paper Immunology. We have had to refer to MHC and MHC proteins frequently while talking of the immune response. Before we talk of the various kinds of T cells and B cell T cell cooperation, it is necessary to look at the MHC genes and MHC proteins. As MHC are the most important molecules during the tissue or organ transgrafting, we will discuss transplantation aspects of the immunology as well. So the objectives of this module are to understand the role of MHC proteins in graft rejection, to learn about the various mechanisms by which polymorphism of MHC molecules arise, to understand MHC restriction of T cells, and to learn the various mechanisms of graft rejection and various kinds of grafts. So the concepts which will be covered are that how MHC are involved in the grafting of tissues and organs, their polymorphism, and what a phenomenon which is known as MHC restriction of T cells. A major histocompatibility complex, which in abbreviated form we have been talking as MHC, is present on all nucleated cells of bodies of the mammals. This gene complex expresses antigens, which are basically cell surface proteins, and these are called MHC antigens. The discovery and the understanding of the roles of the MHC has a long and instructive history. Its evolution is deeply rooted in the concepts of population genetics and diversity of a species. MHC play roles in the grafting of tissues and organs, but that role is incidental. Its role is central to the functioning of the immune response. Jacques Louis Reverdin was a surgeon in Paris who around in 1860s introduced skin grafting. The early plastic surgeons mistakenly believed that skins of even frogs and rabbits could be transplanted in humans. In 1911, Erich Lexer tried to convince others that skin grafts between even different humans are not possible. Ultimately, with time, people grudgingly accepted this truth. This is in spite of the fact that the skin transplanted from another person becomes the site of inflammation and drops away after a week or so. The transplant of skin from one part to another of the same individual is accepted. Skin can also be exchanged between identical twins. In that era, skin grafts became a tool for deciding paternity. With the exception of hamster, every vertebrate species have this characteristic behavior. Given earlier understanding of blood transfusion reactions, the rejection of the graft was naturally believed to be an immune reaction. It was surprising to find that a high concentration of antibodies in the blood against the graft tissue antigens delayed the graft rejection. Alguerre, Weaver and Prehn at the National Research Institute in Bethesda, with mouse as the animal model, provided the first experimental evidence that graft rejection involved cell-mediated immune response. The normal white mouse which receives a skin graft from a brown mouse will reject it. The foreign skin disintegrates in about 10 days time and falls off. Mouse which had a graft will also reject a second one from the same donor. Injection of lymph cells obtained from a mouse which had earlier rejected a graft is administered to a normal mouse. If this mouse later receives a graft from a brown mouse, it will reject the graft as rapidly as the mouse which had two grafts. In 1975, Burnett remarked that while successful kidney transplantation is a spectacular clinical achievement of applied immunology, yet it was possible by empirical use of immunosuppressive drugs rather than based upon the knowledge of graft rejection and tolerance. If a graft is accepted, it shows immunological tolerance. If the spleen cells from a donor were injected in a neonatal mouse or its fetus, the mouse became tolerant to the subsequent grafts from the donor strains, but not from the mouse from other strains. We will return to tissue and organ transplantation immunology later to take this further. Let us familiarize ourselves with the basic concepts and knowledge of MHC genes. We will see that large number of gene loci are involved in graft rejection, but MHC are the most important ones. The MHC complex locus in humans is called human leukocyte antigen. The corresponding loci in mice and rats are H2 complex and RT1 respectively. In mice, these are called H2 genes. The name HLA is derived from the fact that earlier it was believed that MHC antigens are present on the leukocyte only. Their genetic diversity was carried out by serological typing. In recent years, variations in MHC are investigated by genotyping. In current usage, MHC refers to both the genes or the cell surface proteins, and one has to rely upon the context to understand whether the gene or the expressed proteins are being referred to. MHC genes are most polymorphic genes known so far, that is, within a population, large variants of each gene exist. Secondly, large number of MHC class 1 and MHC class 2 genes exist. It was found that during the graft rejection, the recipient's immune system responds to the MHC proteins of the donor. Unrelated individuals express different set of MHC proteins. While the B cell receptor and TCR differ from cell to cell, unless both cells are from the same clone. MHC proteins differ between individuals, hence MHC proteins are sometimes called markers of identity. Decades after the role of MHC proteins in graft rejection was discovered, people wondered what is their role in vivo, as transfer of tissues between individuals is extremely rare in nature. Their role in directing the T cells to the infected cells came to be discovered while many groups were trying to characterize TCR. It turned out that MHC molecules bind to the antigen-derived peptides from the pathogen on the cell surface. As we have mentioned earlier, this role of MHC proteins is critical, and hence pathogens, in order to survive, try to downregulate the expression of the MHC proteins. Let us look at the complete picture now. The organization of the principal MHC genes is shown for both humans and mice. The organization of the MHC genes is similar in both species. They are separate clusters of MHC class 1 genes and MHC class 2 genes. In humans, it may span about 4 into 10 to the power 6 base pairs. All nucleated cells express MHC class 1 molecules. The level of their constitutive expression varies between cell types. Cells of the immune system have high expression levels. Liver cells, brain cells and kidney cells have lower expression levels. RBC in mammals have practically no MHC class 1 proteins. Thus, TC cells cannot destroy any infection to RBC. However, RBC cannot support viral replication, so that does not hurt. Malarial parasite Plasmodium thereby, however, finds RBC an immunologically privileged site. MHC class 2 proteins are expressed on a subset of hematopoietic cells and thymic stromal cells. Thus, these are formed on B lymphocytes, dendritic cells and macrophages. The expression of both class 1 and class 2 proteins is regulated by cytokines, especially interferons. IF and gamma increases the expression of both classes. It also induces the expression of MHC class 2 on some cell types during inflammation. Unlike humans, in which activated T cells express class 2 proteins, in mice T cells do not express these proteins. In brain, except in microglia, cells do not express class 2 proteins. MHC class 1 proteins are integral membrane proteins. Each has one polypeptide chain that spans the plasma membrane. The extracellular portion has three domains: alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3. The alpha chain is a 44 kilodalton in size and is a glycoprotein. Each of the three extracellular or external domains contain about 90 amino acids. The alpha 3 domain is linked to a domain of about 40 amino acid long transmembrane region, which is followed by the cytoplasmic region of 30 amino acids. Alpha 1 domain is non-covalently linked to a single polypeptide beta 2 microglobulin of about 11.5 kilodalton. Beta 2 microglobulin gene is on a separate chromosome number 15 on humans and 2 in mice. Beta 2 microglobulin is critical for transport of the MHC class 1 proteins to the cell surface and helps it to retain its native conformation. It is very similar to alpha 3 domain in its amino acid composition. In fact, alpha 3 domain and beta 2 microglobulin have amino acid composition very similar to the C domain in immunoglobulin. Alpha 1 and alpha 2 domains fold to form two segmented alpha helices resting on 8-stranded antiparallel beta sheet. Alpha 1 and alpha 2 domains form a cleft, the site which MHC class 1 uses to bind the antigenic peptide fragment. Hence, this is the site wherein polymorphism is seen. Interferons are produced in the early phase of the viral infections as part of the innate immune response. Again, we can see the linkage between innate immune response and adaptive immune response. Interferons IF and alpha, beta or gamma can increase the transcription of MHC class 1 alpha chain and beta 2 microglobulin. MHC class 2 molecules are expressed on B cells, macrophages, monocytes, APCs and some T cells. These resemble class 1 molecules in many respects. They consist of two transmembrane glycoprotein chains alpha and beta of 34 kilodalton and 29 kilodalton respectively. Each chain consists of two domains alpha 1, alpha 2 and beta 1 and beta 2. The two chains associate non-covalently to form 4-domain appearance, which is very similar to MHC class 1 plus beta 2 microglobulin complex. Here the bottom of the peptide binding cleft consists of 8 antiparallel beta strands and its walls have antiparallel alpha helices. In MHC class 2, the domain part of the cleft is formed by different chains. The clefts in both MHC class 1 and class 2 are thus very similar. That is understandable as both do the same function, that is bind antigenic peptide fragments. One such molecule of the MHC class 1b kind is H2M3 and it can present peptides which are formilated at the N end. This is of significance as bacterial protein synthesis starts with N-formylmethionine. So these are able to present antigenic fragments from bacterial pathogens which arise from the N terminals. HFE genes, which also is a part of the same gene complex, is expressed on intestinal tract cells. Humans defective in HFE gene have an iron storage disease called hemochromatosis. In this disease, liver and other organs retain high amount of iron. Mice lacking beta 2 microglobulin have similar problems. Other genes which are part of the MHC gene complexes include those which code for some complement components, some cytokines like TNF alpha and TNF beta. These are sometimes called MHC class 3 genes. These also include those coding for HSP7 and adrenal steroid 21 hydroxylase. MIC genes family belongs to the class 1b genes. Their products MIC-A and MIC-B are recognized by NK cell receptors. This allows killing of MIC expressing cells as a part of the innate immunity even when interferons are not yet produced. These class 1b genes are expressed in fibroblasts and epithelial cells, especially intestinal epithelial cells. The need for highly polymorphic nature of the MHC class 1 and class 2 genes is obvious. At the level of protein products, several mechanisms exist which increases their diversity. Both polygyny and polymorphism contribute to the diversity within an individual and also in the population. There are more than 200 alleles of some class 1 and class 2 genes. Each allele has a high frequency in the population. Hence, there is a strong probability that both homologous chromosomes on an individual will have different allele. This heterozygous nature at MHC loci is the source of diversity of protein products, as the expression of MHC alleles is codominant. Both gene products are available to present antigen fragments. This makes the number of different MHC molecules on an individual 2 times. This is in addition to the polygyny. Polygyny is the availability of different related genes with similar functions. In humans, 3 MHC class 1 genes and 4 sets of MHC class 2 genes are available on chromosome 6. For MHC class 2 genes, the diversity is increased further by combination of alpha and beta chains encoded by different chromosomes. The diversity is more in the segments which are responsible for binding the antigenic peptide fragments. Several genetic mechanisms contribute to the generation of new alleles. Apart from point mutations, gene conversion in which one sequence is partially replaced by another generates MHC polymorphism. That the selective evolutionary pressure favors MHC polymorphism is seen by the fact that point mutations are more frequently replacement mutations rather than silent mutations. Gene conversions result in change in the several amino acids simultaneously. As there is a close linkage between MHC genes, gene conversion is not rare in the MHC allele evolution. It appears that genetic recombination between different alleles at a locus may play even more important role than gene conversions in generating MHC diversity. In genetic recombination, DNA segments are exchanged between alleles on the 2 homologous chromosomes. Analysis of the MHC sequences indicated that this has occurred frequently during the evolution. Closely related mice strains show 1 or 2 segments having been exchanged. Unrelated strains indicated accumulated effects of recombination. Some MHC class-like molecules are coded by genes outside the MHC complex. CD1 is expressed on dendritic cells, monocytes and thymocytes. In antigen processing, it behaves more like MHC class 2 proteins. Apart from protein antigen, CD1 is also capable of presentation of glycolipids, which are components of the mycobacterial membranes. These include mycolic acid, glucose monomycolate, and phosphoinositol monocytes, and lipoarabinogenones. CD1 gene may have evolved for presentation of microbial lipids. MHC class 1 proteins bind to peptides from cytosolic degradation, whereas MHC class 2 prefer peptides generated in endocytic vesicles. Wide variety of infectious agents is one reason behind the evolutionary selective pressure for maintaining MHC diversity. T cells recognize antigenic peptide fragments only in combination with MHC molecules. The diversity of MHC molecules thus widens the range of peptides that can be presented to T cells. T cell responses are said to be MHC restricted. The non-self peptide must be present along with the self marker, either MHC class 1 or class 2 antigen. Not only that, in an individual, these have to be its own MHC proteins. These are the ones T cells during their development encountered during thymic education to be positively selected. Non-self MHC cannot do this function. Hence, T cell responses are actually self MHC restricted. Tissue graft rejection is T cell mediated immune rejection. MHC matching between donor and recipient increases the chance of graft acceptance. The broad guidelines for this are: grafting from another organ or site of the same individual is called autograft. Grafts from a genetically identical individual is called syngeneic graft. Graft from an unrelated individual is called allogenic or allograft. So, tissue typing is carried out by a specific antiserum to cells. Complement is added. If the cell had antigen corresponding to the antibodies in the antiserum, cells are lysed, or tissue grafting emerge from the studies within skin grafting. In mixed lymphocyte culture or mixed lymphocyte reaction, as it is sometimes called, lymphocytes from prospective donor and recipient are mixed. If the cells do not divide, they have a shared MHC specificity. Currently, it is possible to graft many organs. During grafting, except in the cases of corneal graft and some bone marrow grafts, immunosuppressive drugs have to be used. Kidney and heart transplants are the most common. Liver and lungs are less common but not infrequent. Both antibody and cell mediated mechanisms are known to operate, but T cells are involved in all cases except blood transfusion. Direct recognition of a grafted organ, which is shown as red in the upper panel, is mediated by T cells whose receptors have specificity for the allogenic MHC class I or MHC class II molecules in combination with the peptide. These alloreactive T cells are stimulated by donor antigen presenting cells, which express both the allogenic MHC molecule and the co-stimulatory activity, as shown in the bottom left panel. Indirect recognition of the graft, as shown in the bottom right panel, is mediated by T cells whose receptors are specific for allogenic peptides that are derived from the grafted organ. Proteins from the graft are processed by the recipient's antigen presenting cells and are therefore presented by the self recipient MHC class I or class II molecules. So, this shows how alloantigens in grafted organs are recognized in two different ways. Let us look at the types of allograft rejection. Minor H antigens are peptides which are derived from the polymorphic proteins of the donor cells, which are different from the corresponding ones on the recipient cell. It is the work with kidney transplants which has led to the classification of the allograft rejection into three types. The first type is of the allograft rejection is the hyperacute rejection. This occurs during time period which ranges from few minutes to few hours. Pre-existing circulatory antibodies are involved and cause type 2 hypersensitivity. Prior blood transfusion or organ transplant definitely favors this. Acute rejection takes place weeks to months and is T cell mediated. Delayed type hypersensitivity and cytokines from monocytes or macrophages are involved. Chronic rejection takes place after months and years. It is also cell mediated and may occur due to differences in minor transplantation antigens. The percentage of involvement of direct and indirect recognition mechanisms is not always known. Acute rejection is largely due to direct recognition. In indirect recognition, T cells may activate macrophages, leading to tissue damage and fibrosis. This leads to antibody-mediated graft rejection. The direct recognition is best understood in terms of skin grafts. Here, Langerhans cells act as APC. These as APCs migrate to the lymph nodes, where they interact with recirculating naive T cells specific for graft antigens and activate them. The effector T cells reach blood via thoracic duct and from blood to the grafted tissue. As only graft is destroyed, it is mediated by adaptive immune response and not by just innate immunity processes like inflammation. Animals have been considered also as organ tissue donors for human beings. Pigs have many organs of sizes similar to humans and have been studied widely. Such transplants from different species are called xenotransplants. Unfortunately, humans share natural hemagglutinins which bind to the cell surface carbohydrates of pigs. This leads to hyperacute rejection. MHC molecules on pig cells would be another problem. Over and above these problems, ethical and social issues are worrisome factors. So is the possibility of unknown viruses being transferred and become infected in the germline of humans. To summarize this lecture, we learnt that MHC proteins were recognized in skin transplant studies. We learnt that MHC molecules have different classes. Many mechanisms contribute to the polymorphism of the MHC molecules. All T cell responses are MHC restricted. Graft rejection always involves T cell mediation. The discoveries of the MHC molecules during organ tissue transplantation and later their involvement in T cell response shows how sometimes two different lines of investigations can merge and help understanding biological phenomenon. Finally, MHC restriction of T cell responses completes the circle. Fetus is a graft in a way which is tolerated and not rejected under normal circumstances. That puzzling phenomenon involves both grafting mechanisms and immunological tolerance. Thank you.